rusher, Damien Harris. When you're trying to stop a running game and it's a back that you haven't played against, how do you approach that?
I mean, we got to stop all running games, period. I mean, that's something we haven't done well all year. So you have to play your gap, shed your blocks, make tackles. Everybody's got to do their job.
What can you tell us about Damien Harris?
He's running the ball well. I mean, you just told me he's running the ball well.
Berman?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. First, JJ, what do you think about the fact that, if you don't know, you may not know, that John Weeks will break the franchise record for games played on Sunday with 170, breaking the record that had been set by Andre Johnson?
That's great. Weeks has been an extremely consistent guy his whole career. I mean, he comes in, he does his job, he does it very well. Obviously, doesn't get a lot of praise or accolades for what he does, but he does it extremely well, and he does it every single day. He works extremely hard on his craft in the off season, works extremely hard on it at practice, deserves a lot of credit, has been very, very steady and stable for this organization for a long time.
What are the challenges of going up against a guy like Cam Newton?
I mean, he's obviously big, physical, he can run, he can throw. You got to be aware of his capabilities in every single play. He can do just about anything out there.
Do you have another one, Mark? Okay, Aaron Wilson.
Hey, JJ. When you reviewed the tape of the Cleveland game, in particular the end of it, what did you learn from it in terms of things that didn't happen at the end that you guys were doing well in the first, just in kind of the contrast there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we gave up a big 59-yard run at the end, which wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't good enough. I mean, you do a decent job all day. I mean, we obviously want to hold them to less yards, and a massive chunk of it came on the last play, but still, you want to hold them to less yards. But, you got to do better. You got to find a way to win. You got to find a way to take the ball away. You got to find a way to put points on the board. I mean, we all got to do our jobs better.
TJ, your emotions are well known on the topic and how you feel about it and how motivated you are to fix it. When you talk with your teammates and kind of have these conversations, what are some of the things that you guys, not getting too far into it, just things generally that you guys try to stress as you try to improve the topic of the run defense?
I mean, I stress that this situation, this feeling, this where we are can never, ever be acceptable in any fashion. I personally don't think you should ever show up to work, happy and excited and joyous when you're 2-7. I just don't think I don't think this should be acceptable for players, for coaches, for fans, for anybody, front office. That's the message that I stress is find a way to put more work in. I feel like I've said it before, the only way to get better at football is to practice football. So I've made my feelings known on that. I tell guys that just don't ever let this be acceptable. And it's the biggest message I'd like to get across to these guys and to this organization, this city. I mean, I'm not going to say you have to live a miserable life because there's a lot of things obviously that are much more important than football. But when this is your job and we get paid a lot of money to do it, and we take a lot of pride in it, you can never accept this type of situation.
Sarah?
TJ leads the league in tackles for a loss and is tied for second in sacks. What has stood out to you about the way he's played this season?
Nothing stood out to me because I expect it. I mean, that's what I expect from him. I know how hard he works. I know his capabilities. I know what type of player he is. I know what type of defense he's on. I know what type of team he's on. And I know how relentless he is and how great he is. So it doesn't stand out to me because that's what I expect to see from him. He's a phenomenal player. Should absolutely be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation, and is doing a great job.
In 2016, when you had the back injury and he was dealing with a knee injury, were you guys both at home in Wisconsin?
I don't remember. I can't say that I recall.
When you were hurt, was there ever a time when the two of you got to watch film together while he was still in college?
I'm sure there was. I can't recall specific times. We've watched film together quite a few times before.
Okay, thank you.
Brandon?
Hey, JJ, how would you assess your own performance, particularly in the last game and then generally the season so far?
Not good enough. We're 2-7. I could have 100 sacks. If we're 2-7, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I need to play better. I need more tackles for loss. I need more sacks. I need more quarterback hits. Right now, I need to help us stop the run even better. So I'm not playing well enough. Our team's not playing well enough, and that's why we're 2-7.
John?
And then,
Go ahead, Brandon.
oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, JJ, what is the adjustment that someone has to make, and yourself in particular, that you have to make in year 10 as far as trying to make plays versus the way you might have made them in year 2, year 3, year 4?
I mean, you still got to get to the running back, and you still got to tackle him. You still got to get to the quarterback, and you still got to get to the ball. So you got to figure out a way to do it.
John?
What's it like preparing for the Patriots without Brady? And could you talk about the two styles with Brady and Newton, please?
I mean, they obviously do things differently with Cam than they did with Tom. Cam's obviously much more involved in the running game. He has the ability to scramble more. Tom obviously is, the greatest of all time. So there's certainly a different aspect to the game and the way that you attack it. But it's just like any game. You have to watch the film, study them, do your best job preparing, and then go out there and play on Sunday.
Last one for Aaron Wilson.
Hey, JJ, coming from where these teams were last year, where they've been for many years, being playoff teams, how strange is it for you to, here's a game like this where both teams have losing records and kind of at a little bit of a crossroads here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. This isn't where we want to be. I'm sure they don't want to have the record they have either. So, I mean, I'm not sure.
Thanks, JJ.